Joined today from the Department of Ag Trade Consumer Protection. He came to the studio. Michael, welcome back. Thank you for coming out here. Appreciate it.
Thrilled to be here.
We're happy to have you. And today we're going to be talking about the payment apps. And you and I were kind of chatting about it right before we came on. And it's interesting to me because a lot of people, I think, are afraid to try this for the very reason of the unknown, or to be scammed, or it just seems easy to be scammed. And we're going to talk a lot about these today and making sure that you don't get scammed. But I think after this interview, I think you'll feel a little bit more comfortable maybe wrapping your head around what it is and where the scams might come in.
Yeah, and that is the goal, is to just try and educate so that you do have that comfort. We never want to come in and say, hey, all of these things are bad. You can never use them.
Don't do this.
Right. And sometimes I feel bad because I feel like we're always talking about that there's a risk to everything we do, and the only way to be safe is to hide in the basement and never come out and never talk to anyone or use the phone, and that's not it. There is definitely, these certainly have a benefit. They're very, very convenient. There is a way to use them safely, but we just want to make sure everyone understands what are some of the ways that you should be looking for to make that you're not getting scammed as you go throughout.
So let's start with how it works. The payment app was set up to do what?
As a money exchange between two parties. So it was a way for me to virtually send you money
instead of borrowing you physical cash?
Exactly.
Well, good. I didn't bring any cash to borrow you today, but I could use that app, right?
You certainly could.
It works, and it's really fast. It's that fast too. I mean, you share, depending what you have, you can share some information. But the scary part is you're linking this to a bank account, or you're linking it to something to draw that cash out.
Yep. So initially it was kind of pitched, or one of the selling points was, you and I go out to dinner and we decide we want to split the bill, but you put it on and I send you the money. Well, then that kind of transitioned into, we're seeing it used in commerce. So instead of sending credit cards, well, maybe here's a safer way, we'll just pay through this payment app. But it is linked to your bank account. And so you have to remember that if you are potentially paying someone you don't know, or you're responding to an ad that maybe seems questionable, but you really want the product, or what we're seeing as one of the most common scams is the fraudsters are impersonating the app itself and saying, look, your account was compromised, we want you to verify certain information. In some instances, they're asking you to transfer all of your money to a different account because that one has been compromised. And so, of course, you and I, we talk so much about it, we realize, well, you're really just putting your money into their account and that's where it goes. But there's so many different variations on how this app is being exploited that we want everyone to understand what to look for.
And the reason that it is so troublesome is it's like sending cash. So compared to like a credit card where you get some protection on what you're doing, this isn't it. You're not getting that protection potentially in what you're doing. So whether you're being scammed or not.
Right. Most major banks and almost all of the major credit cards have very sophisticated technology and fraud departments to support that. And they also offer a lot of recourse to give you an opportunity to say, hey, wait a second, I was scammed, to help out. These apps don't offer those same protections. So sometimes we say if you want to use the app, try and link it to a credit card, not your bank account. So at least you have that secondary level of protection. But we want everyone to realize you don't have the same levels of protection by using these apps as you do. And sometimes that's misunderstood.
I agree. And I would also say, too, when you're talking about the scams that you were kind of alluding to before, a lot of them pop up the same way. And it's your basics. Unwanted text or email or whatever, asking you to pay in credit card or pay in gift card, asking for you to transfer money over to this place. So that there are still those common red flags that we like to talk about that work in this instance just as much as other scams.
They do, and that's the unfortunate reality that allows us to continue to have these conversations, is because these scams continue to evolve. And you laid out a perfect progression of how it used to be send us cash, then send us a check. Now send us a wire transfer through Western Union or whoever it might be. Well, then it became gift cards. Now the next two that we're seeing, we see these apps being used, then of course cryptocurrency. And so, as you have these new opportunities for payments and platforms, of course, fraudsters are going to exploit that and use it to their advantage to try and get that payment in a different way.
My favorite place to see these is like garage sales now. Like, it's right out there in the front, like, hey, I'm here. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know.
That in farmers markets. You see.
Exactly. That's a good example.
Everywhere at farmers markets now.
Yeah.
And, how do you know somebody didn't just set up their their tent and just start grabbing it. So it's a conscious choice everyone has to make. When you're there, it's unfortunately, I think as we move into a world that is more and more digital, you're going to see this become more probably commonplace and comfortable. I mean, look at most sporting events. It's card only, or you can tap your app.
I was just going to say a lot of it is no contact anymore whatsoever. So I know I was just traveling and we're in an airport where the only person that came to us was the person dropping off food. Everything else was through the app and through even texting you and saying, hey, you want more? You're like, this is really weird, but I think it's still, you got to adapt with the times. And I think, knowing the stuff that you shared today, I think should reassure people that, you do your homework, you do some things, you pay attention to what's going on. You can use these things successfully, but you got to know the risks behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes down to sending money to strangers and thinking about, would I send cash in this exact same situation that I'm being asked to use one of these payment apps? And I would think oftentimes the answer is probably going to be no, but you have to think about it in the same way of, well, if something goes wrong, do I think they're going to send me my cash back? Probably not.
Man. Well, there's more information out there. There's ways to stay up on this. There's ways to get comfortable with understanding this stuff. Where can I find that, Michael?
I'm glad you asked. Visit consumerprotection.wi.gov. We have a library of fact sheets and one specifically on payment apps and what are just some of the red flags you can look for and how to successfully use them and stay protected.
All right. Appreciate the help. I think everybody should try technology. I don't think anybody should be afraid of it, but know how to use it. Read the fine print, get your familiarization with it, and check out the resources. I mean, DATCP, you got it all.
We do.
It makes it easy.
And we try to really make them easy to read. Put them in plain language so that somebody like me can understand what I'm supposed to do and how to use it successfully.